We take you to Monmouth Racetrack in Monmouth, New Jersey.
Well, now, just before we get down to the feature race, it looks very much today, in the opinion of the experts, that it's going to be a very, very close contest between Dolly James and that beautiful new bay, Harass. Now, just a minute, fans. I've noticed here that Harass is not going to run. Remember now, Harass is not going to run. Be sure to scratch Harass.
On the Texaco Star Theater, one of the principal characters played a prominent part in the dramatization of Julius Caesar. He had a very important line whereby he was to introduce Bruce Cabot, who was the star of the Shakespearean play. Here is how the introduction came off.
Hail the conquering hero, great leader of armies, renowned figure in history, Ned Caesar.
Go to your neighborhood theater to see Go to your neighborhood theater to see Rita Hayworth, whose salami will take your breath away.
At Heitman's, you'll find a variety of fine foods, expertly served by experienced waitresses in appetizing form.
Don't forget next week's sermon is entitled, Do You Know What Hell Is? Come in and hear our organ.
Late movie shows on television are famous for the direct mail commercials. Let's listen to this young lady who has this message for her viewers.
Try this lovely 4-piece dinnerware starter set in your home for 7 days. If you are not satisfied, all you do is return it to us. So you see, you have everything to lose and nothing to gain.
Ladies, at Zimmer's, you'll find sneakers that are also excellent for street walking.
Everyone in your family will love Manischewitz wine. Sweet, but not too sweet. Tangy, just right. Get Manischewitz wine, WABD, New York.
Ladies, does your husband wake up in the morning feeling listless?
The Master of Ceremonies on an audience participation program asked a woman contestant about the health of her husband.
My husband's nerves are always upset. He's always taking phenobarbital.
Here's a wartime OPA message urging housewives to conserve valuable fat.
Ladies, take your fat cans down to the corner butcher.
It's reported that the collision of the freighters was due to the fog, which was as thick as sea poop.
I'd like to dedicate my next number to my good friend Henry and his expectant bride.
Let's turn the dial to one of your favorite soap operas.
I'm not secure when I go out with most boys, but when I go out with John, he gives me a good feeling.
Mel Allen, a sportscaster, interviewed a great All-American football player on his program following the Pabst Blue Ribbon fights on CBS. Mel made a habit of offering his sponsored cigars to his guests. However, one evening, a football great threw Mel a curve when he pushed the box of cigars aside and said,
I never touch those things. They make me sick.
Newsmen also have their sense of humor, as evidenced by the complete breakup of this newscaster.
In the wonder world of science, the Hayden Planetarium has heard from a Minnesota man who claims that the shape of Aurora Borealis, the northern lights, can be changed by flapping a bedsheet at them from the ground. The planetarium doubts it, but the man says he did successfully flap sheets in his backyard one midnight, though his wife kept hollering at him to cut out the foolishness and get back in the house. Now here are today's closing Dow Jones stock averages. Industrials off 14 cents, rails up 3 cents, utilities up 7 cents. And that's today's Headline Edition. Tune in tomorrow at this same time for Headline Edition. You'll hear important reports of the names who made the news and vivid on. This Sunday evening, be sure and hear Drew Pearson on ABC. Pearson has received many awards for his work, and one of his treasures is the Saturday Review of Literature citation. This is ABC, the American broadcast.
Let's tune in an audience participation show and hear part of this classic interview.
I have children aged 2, 3, 5, and 6.
What happened to 4, madam?
That's the year we got our television set.
We take you now to BBC in England, where a children's show is in progress.
Woo! We're going to play a hiding and finding game with music. Now, this is what we do. We pretend that you've got some balls, and I'm going to hide them. They might be hidden high up near the ceiling, or they might be hidden low down on the floor. You don't know where I'm going to hide your balls, but the music will tell you. Now, first of all, shut your eyes while I hide them. Yes, shut your eyes. Now, open your eyes. And dance lightly about, looking everywhere for your balls. And now, the music's going to tell you where your balls are. They may be high up, so that you have to stretch and jump up for them, or they may be low down, so that you have to pick them up off the floor. Listen. Well, were your balls high up or low down? They were high up, and I hope you've all jumped up and got them. Now, dance round and toss them in the air and play with them.
The following prescribed is transcribed.
Even the most veteran newscasters, whose job is to read countless news items, sometimes get completely lost. Let's listen to the news for this example.
Dispatches from Prague this morning report that the communist premier of Czechoslovakia, Klement Gottwald, told a meeting called last night to form a communist action committee that a quick communist victory was certain now, and he's quoted as saying it may be in several hours, but it will certainly be in several days. Well, there can be no doubt, since the communists already control the Czech police, are beginning to go through that. Are beginning to go through this control. I'm sorry.
Remember that bulk is important to the digestive tract to aid in regular movement. Mother should have a good stock of Kellogg's Pep so that you can have a bowl every morning. Yes, kids, be sure Mother is stocked up with Kellogg's Pep.
Don't forget to give your girl a gorgeous screwing for Christmas.
On an audience participation show, Herb Schreiner, the popular Indiana Hoosier, asked a woman if she were a natural-born citizen of the United States.
Oh, no, I was born cesarean.
At Moe's Esso station, you can get gas, charged up, and your parts lubricated in 30 minutes.
Evening Melodies is heard 1 hour earlier if your community is on Eastern Standard Time, 1 hour later if, well, there is a 2-hour difference in certain cities that, oh, to hell with it.
A word in a script at first reading can be completely misleading, as this announcer's rundown of news will prove.
General Marshall arrived at the conference, tall, dignified, and uninformed.
Out of the mouths of babes, oft-time come gems. Let's tune in on the airwaves' brightest children's program.
And what's your name, little fella?
Kenneth.
How old are you, Kenneth?
5.
5. And did you ever do anything wrong?
I fought it.
I see.
And now, stay tuned for I Love Loosely.
Here's a news item about the Russians that once again crapped up in the news.
Galen Drake, CBS radio personality, had been sponsored for a long period by Richfield Oil, and the client's name became thoroughly implanted in his mind. The station advised him that he had a new sponsor, Rich Maid Creamery. On the very first program, he told housewives,
Be sure your refrigerator is stocked up with a couple of quarts of Richfield oil for your baby.
Stay tuned to a sermon by Reverend Smith. Don't miss it if you can.
Remember, every Friday night is Fright Night on NBC.
On one of television's most popular audience participation programs, on which occupations of contestants are guessed, a mystery guest was being quizzed by a blindfolded panelist who asked,
Are you male or female?
That hasn't looked like me.
On Strike It Rich, popular television program, the Master of Ceremonies interviewed a 5-year-old child whose father was in the U.S. Army serving in Korea. the child wanted to strike it rich for a new bed and a larger apartment. Let's listen in to the child's problem.
My daddy is in the Army in Korea. When my Uncle Charlie comes over the weekend, he makes me sleep in the kitchen. But he's really not my Uncle Charlie.
This conclude. That is all. And so we conclude radio and television's first album to preserve these classic boners. Additional albums in this series are to be released soon. Until we meet then, this is your reporter leaving you with the words of Thomas Pope, who in 1870 said, "To err is human, to forgive, divine." Any reproduction of this album in any form is strictly prohibited.